Rightio, rebuilding me Bomber 58's. The day has come. Didn't really want to be doing this, but I'm having to do this because that's what happens when you have too much fun sometimes. Yeah, so I've never done this before, so I'm basically learning on the job. Shouldn't be too hard. I've watched quite a few videos now, like what you're doing, watching me how to do it. So it shouldn't be too hard. How hard can it really be? Right, so first thing, I'm going to take some air out of it. So we're going to undo the old air cap. So let's release it. Okay. Now granted, because these are double crown forks, downhill forks, I can do one side at a time if I wanted to, so which I will do. I want to start with this side, then move on to that side. So I'm guessing we have to take this adjuster off, this adjuster cap. These are a really awkward thing to work on. I now see why you get yourself a bike stand and clamp them in a bike stand, like a mountain bike stand. Anyway, we'll get there. Right, so I'm going to undo this cap.
Right, I just need to jump in here and just clarify something. You do not need to undo the compression adjuster like what I'm doing here when you're taking the lowers off. The only reason you would need to undo this cap is to actually get the compression and rebound grip dampener out of the fork. But if you're just doing a lower leg service, you do not need to do this step. Yeah, I stuffed up here, and whatever you do not like wind. So once you get the cap off, don't just go winding the adjuster out and loosening it off, because you could then spill the 5-weight oil out of the top of the fork, which I learnt the hard way. So don't do that. Only do that if you're taking out the grip dampener, which I do end up doing because that's the part that I stuffed. But yeah, just need to clarify that.
Just like so. It's got a whole bunch of bull crap in there. We'll sit that to the side. Oh! Along with the little bolt that goes with. Yep, there's a little springy thing in there. Sit the bolt there. Some cogs. Some more cogs. It's quite complicated. Be nice if I had a nice flat socket, which I do not have, so you're going to see me use a shifter. I recommend in not using a shifter and to use a nice big socket that's flat, that sits over there nicely and you can undo them.
Once again, I'll jump in here and say you do not have to undo these top caps if you are just doing a lower leg service. They can stay as is. The air one, the only reason I needed to undo that, which was to put another packer in. I put another air volume spacer in. So it's pretty much maxed out now. But yeah, as I said, you do not have to do this if you're just taking the lowers off.
On both of these, your top caps, I don't have that, so we're going to go at it with a shifter. Right, I did say I've never done this before. It's going to be 10 times easier to actually do it while it's still in the bike, because you just slip the lowers off, Bob's your auntie. So let's do that. I think everyone saw that coming. I certainly did. So this one will have your little packers on it. Alright, take that one off and set him to the side. You get an Allen key and take this little adjuster cap off. Alright, so that's next. Should just slide off. Like so. Right, so I'm now going to undo these with, once again, a shifter. I'm a little bit annoyed about it because I cannot find a 15mm spanner for the life of me. So I'm going to do it with a shifter. So that comes off like that. That there is the compression side. This leg here, which we're going to undo, is the air leg. Same thing again. Undo him. Both kind of loose. I'd like them a little bit tighter, but don't know whether that's because I've undone the top cap there that loose. Who knows? Alright, there we go. Take him off. Sit him to the side. Oh. As I said, I've never done it before. Oh. Right, let's slidey McSlidey. This is very cool. Not gonna lie. Right, so I figured out what is broken. It's this, the grip dampener. I thought I might have just done a seal. No, I've actually fully scored it and wrecked it. So $400 part, that $400 mistake, $400 part. Bit disappointing, but yeah, so what I've done is I've actually scored, I'll come closer and show you, I've actually scored the top of this rod that goes up and down inside what they call the grip dampener. And it goes up and down and basically makes it all work in layman's terms. But yeah, I'll come closer and show you what I've done. See that little thing? There's like a little score mark along here. Hopefully you can see that. I really don't know if you can see it or not. But yeah, so that's what I basically wrecked. Yeah, that's what I've wrecked. So I had to buy a new one. So I've got a new one, and the annoying part is you can't just buy that by itself, or at least I couldn't find it anyway, just the shaft. I couldn't just buy the shaft. I had to buy a whole new grip dampener, which is $400. roundabout. Australian, so be cheaper if you're in the US. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to it on finishing the rebuild with the new grip dampener, and maybe Truett's just going to have to stop sending it so much, or he's going to have to do something else. We'll see what happens. Anyway, let's stick to just rebuilding these today. Let's get to it. Cool. So I just finished cleaning the inner side of the leg, pushing the shaft through with the rags, just making sure it's nice and hunky-dory, which it is. No spectacles or anything in there. So that's all good. Right. Now, we may as well do a full service. So for said service, we're going to get these little foam rings out of the top of the fork with a small Allen key. I've seen people on the internet use proper tools for this, like little picks. I don't have that, so I'm going to use a small Allen key. I'm just going to grab it, pull it out. Just like so. So if we're aware. So it's just like that. I'm just grabbing this little foam ring out of the inner of the lower. Right, that's one. Sit that off to the side. We'll grab the other one out. There we go. That one's a lot easier. Leave that there. So we'll get a little bit of 20 weight gold Fox fork liquid. I'll leave it a link in the description down below where you can get this from. So I'm cutting off my head so you can see more of the table. But yeah, I'll leave a link down below where you can get this from, because that's what you'll need. We'll pour that into there. Glub, 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 glub. Alright, this is a little seal kit. Little kit you get with the forks. We're just gonna plop these little foam rings in the oil. Just like so. And they're gonna have a little bathy bath. They're just gonna sit there, and because they're foam, they're gonna soak up like a sponge. Right, now we've got some other little doodads in there as well. New ones are these seals, so we may as well try and pop these out. Got it! Right, so don't be shy. You have to give it a lot of herbs with a spanner to get these dust seals out. Let's give that a little raggy rag. Just like so. Rightio. So, I managed to get these seals in. It is a pain in the bum. I found out there is a proper tool to do it. My tool was a mallet with a rag wrapped over it, and I just gave it some Hail Marys. It's in there. I didn't damage them, so that's all that counts. Cool. These have now been dipped in oil and cleaned. So let's put them in. So here's your little foam augments need to go in there like that. We're going to get grease ready. Let's drop this leg in. That will be that. So let's grease him up a little bit.
Now, full disclaimer, before you go any further, don't make the mistake that I made and I forgot to install the bump stop. So what you're seeing here, I had to redo over, take the leg back out of the fork and install the bump stop. So make sure that goes in there. It's like a little rubber puck. Make sure that's pushed all the way down to the bottom.
Grease the dust seal. Alright, and this is just going to stop any unwanted scratching. Just a lubricant just on that dust seal. Just a bit of grease there. Right, I'm now going to slide this leg in very carefully. Right. We don't want the seal to fold, we want the seal to push out. There we go. And we'll start to getting in, and obviously our rebound adjuster is going to come through the bottom. Our rebound adjuster is going to come through the bottom, like so. And that's it for that one. Right, so we don't tighten it up. We're now going to leave it out a bit because we're now going to put oil in it. So that's why I've done one leg at a time. We're now going to very carefully put oil in. Then the cap will go on. Once that's on, we'll probably put it, that's that side done. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So then we'll do the same on the other side. So let's move on to the oil, doing that. We need in the dampener side, I've got it here, we need to put 50. We need to put 50.
So, as I just said, in the dampener side, this is how much oil to put in each leg. In the dampener side, it is 50 milliliters or 50 cc. In the air side, the air chamber side, filling from the bottom, not the top. So this is the leg, right? Filling the leg, not the top cap where your air volume spaces go in, right? 35 cc, right? In the bottom leg. Right, in the top where your top cap goes on, where your volume spaces are, you put only 6 cc in because that's just a bit of lubricant basically in the top of the top cap. Right, now inside the grip dampener is a separate oil. It is a 5-weight oil, which I'll put down in the description down below as well. Now if you've bought a new grip dampener, you won't have to worry about this because it comes already with oil in it. That's why there's tape wrapped around the hole, so you have to take that red tape off that you would have saw me take off before. So there's already that oil in it, so be careful not to spill it out. But if you're rebuilding your grip dampener, that's a different story. So you will need that 5-weight oil for your grip dampener.
Milliliters in the dampener side. Grab your oil, 28 Gold Fox fork oil. Alright, we're now going to grab our syringe.
Just to clarify what I'm doing here, so I've sucked up 20 mils because that's all my syringe will allow me to do. So obviously I'm going to have to go back for more, put another 30 in it. But what I'm doing is I've got the leg pushed back just enough that I can basically fit the nozzle in past the thread and squirt the oil into the leg. And then from there, once you fill it with 50, you basically push the leg back down so the thread pops out the end and put the nut on and you're done. And it's the same on the other side except you're putting 35 in the air side.
Alright, let's now push the leg up and out the top like that. Remembering to keep the leg now up that way. We don't want any oil getting out. Right, on goes the bottom cap. And screw him on, like so.
Right, so you see here, I'm just nipping up the bottom nut. I'm just going to tighten that up nice and tight, and then from there, all you'll do is you'll put your red adjuster back on, tighten up the grub screw on that one, the same way you took it off, and then it's that simple. But obviously, I had to pull mine back apart because I forgot to put my bump stop in, so do not forget that. Make sure that's at the bottom, all the way down at the bottom of the extension. So you can see there now, I'm putting on that red cap, tightening them up, and that's the adjuster. I'm going to realise soon enough though that I forgot the bump stop and have a small little meltdown and just like be like, I can't believe I have done that. It's not too bad. Once you've done it, I then pulled it back apart pretty quickly and put it back together pretty quickly because I'd already done it. But yeah, and it's the same on the other side, except you're putting 35 mils of oil in the other side, the 20 weight Fox oil, and that's it. From there, put it on the bike, make sure everything's tight, make sure your top caps are tight, make sure your bottom nuts are tight, and then put them in the extensions, pump them up, and you're done. Put the bike back together, front wheel back on, all of that fun stuff, and that's it. Yeah. So you see me there, I'm just trying to test it out on the bench. Obviously, the compression's wound up quite heavily, so it's not going to move much at all. But yeah, I'm just mucking around with it there. This is where I actually stuffed because the top cap for the adjuster, the compression top cap, is actually loose. The compression's wound right out, and so by me pushing on that, I actually pushed oil, the 5 weight, and you can see here I'm actually loosening it or tightening it, whatever I'm doing there. I think I loosened it and then I pushed on it again. Yeah, I did. So this is where I went wrong. So I loosened it. Do not do this. I loosened it, which once I pushed the leg in, allowed the oil to squirt out the top, and then I was lucky and I realised I didn't lose too much oil, and so I basically just put more oil in from the top. So you see there, I basically just royally stuffed up. I basically just put a bit of oil in at the top and then put the cap back on, and it was a very bodged way of doing it, but that seemed right to me. I just put like another cap of oil in the grip dampener. So yeah, don't do that. Leave that tight, leave that cap on if you can in this whole process. Yeah, cool.
Rightio. Forks are all back together. I'm just in the process of slapping them back on now. I thought I wouldn't film this side, doing the air chamber side, because there's no point. It's the same. Pretty much the same thing. If you know how to pull it apart, figure that out, then you know how to put it back together. But yeah, one thing I forgot was the bump stop in the compression and rebound side. There has to be a little bump stop that goes in the bottom of the fork. I forgot to put that back in, so I had to pull them back apart to put that in. Another side note is, do not loosen off this valve, the compression valve, if you've got this cap off. A good thing is to just put this cap back on as quick as you can, because the oil in the compression and rebound, that 5 weight stuff, will come back out. So keep that tight, keep the compression tight. Will also help you putting it back in. Yeah, that's just my little pointer with that. Don't do a me and have that backed off, and then a little bit of that 5 weight comes back out and you sort of stitch yourself up. Yeah, so now what we're going to do is we're going to fill the air chamber back up with air. That's why they're all just like out of whack at the moment. Fill that back up with air. I'm going to put about 100 psi in them. That's like the max limit. Is that right, Jared? 100 psi? Yeah. So 120 is the max limit. I'm going to put about 100 psi in it, so 20 below. Yeah, so let's do that now.